The American civil rights activist Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929. Inspired by his Christian beliefs, as well as the nonviolent protests of activists such as Mahatma Gandhi, in the 1950s, King became arguably the most famous leader of the civil rights movement in America, which sought to put an end to racial segregation. Despite the abolition of slavery in 1863, for over 100 years black and white Americans remained segregated under the infamous Black Code and the Jim Crow laws, until they were eventually repealed in 1964. Considered as second-class citizens, black Americans were expected to live separately from whites. They were schooled separately, ate and drank separately, and were buried separately. In 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, King led a protest against the segregation of black Americans like Rosa Parks and Claudette Colvin on public transport. This resulted in the Supreme Court ruling that such segregation was indeed unconstitutional. Following this success, in January 1957, King became the president of the civil rights group, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and went on to lead many more nonviolent protests against racial segregation in states such as Georgia, Alabama, and Washington. It was during his March on Washington on the 28th of August 1963 that at the foot of the Lincoln Memorial, King delivered one of the most famous speeches in modern history and uttered the immortal words, "I have a dream." His speech called for social, economic, and racial equality and an end to the senseless segregation that for too long had taken hold in America. In recognition of his extraordinary efforts, on October 14, 1964, King, pictured here with his wife Coretta, was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for combating racial inequality through nonviolent means. However, just 4 years later, while supporting a workers' strike in Memphis, Tennessee, on April 4, 1968, as he was standing on the second-floor balcony of the Lorraine Motel, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. 2 months later, the alleged gunman, James Earl Ray, was arrested and subsequently sentenced to serve 99 years in prison. Ray later appealed his sentence, claiming that King's assassination had in fact been orchestrated by the American government and that he had been framed, a claim incidentally which King's family also believed. However, ultimately his appeal failed and he spent the rest of his life in jail. Interestingly, the day before his assassination, having faced multiple death threats, King gave the following speech at a church in Memphis, which was perhaps as prophetic as it was powerful.
Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
If you enjoyed this video, click like and subscribe for more content just like it, and until next time, thanks for watching.